Hello, comments. Comments in a slightly different setting. This isn't my kind of, little homely interior with my hyperactive Burmese cat. Instead, we're in the Guardian HQ, the belly of the beast itself. Jamie Lopez. Owen, do you believe in changing the voting system to proportional representation? Yes. That's easy, isn't it? But I actually voted against alternative vote when it was offered in the referendum in 2011. You remember the Lib Dems made all those promises, abolishing tuition fees, not increasing the rate of VAT, no cuts for the first year, etc., etc. Now, they then formed a coalition with the Conservatives, scrapped all of that. Their argument was, well, we're in coalition, so we've got to make these agreements behind closed doors. And that made me think at the time, I don't want lots more coalitions. I've changed my mind, so scrap all of that. And that's because politics has become very, very fragmented. We've seen the rise of the Scottish National Party, UKIP, the Greens, relative to where they were. Not only has politics become more fragmented, but I think both Labour and the Conservatives have become increasingly unwieldy coalitions. They are coalitions of people from different perspectives who are broadly on the left or on the right. Today, would a party be founded with Jeremy Corbyn and Tony Blair as members? The Eurosceptic backbenchers who are giving David Cameron hell, would they form a party together? As long as people before an election say, this is the coalition we're going to have, this is how it's going to work, I think that's fine. And I think that reflects more that politics is more fragmented, it's harder to put people in just one box, and I think PR is just about waking up to that reality. Oliver Price. Hey Owen, just wondering, can you grow a beard? As much as I would like to jump on the whole beard, Jeremy Corbyn beard bandwagon, no, probably not. Not in any convincing way. Handsome hero. Yeah, I'm listening, nods as he looks at his phone, ha ha. Right. A lot of you are saying this, it keeps coming up. People are accusing me of rudeness. For example, Jan Oxley, get off your phone. Jeez, I put my questions on the phone. I'm not checking Twitter. I'm not texting people. I'm not checking my emails. I can't, I'm just using it as an aid memoir. So that's all it is. Back in the day, it would have been a notepad, but we've moved on, technology and all that. So what I might do from now on, because it does seem to be an issue, which you keep coming up with, people think I'm just checking my phone willy-nilly, is I'll try and be a bit more discreet with it. Biscuit Boy 11. Owen, I take it you've noticed that subtitling Howler at 125, OMG, lol. So on YouTube videos, you can click subtitling. The results vary quite dramatically. Sometimes for various videos, we've actually included proper subtitles for translation purposes and so on. No, on the Mhairi Black one, it says, offerings, but one has one powerful orgasm party. Don't agree with this second. Powerful orgasm party, blimey. Politics and orgasms, I'm not sure they mix. I'm not quite sure I'm going with this. It's pretty tawdry, isn't it? I'm blushing now, I'm just babbling, aren't I? Look, just pull yourselves together. It's just a subtitling Howler and just stop that filth. George Greville Williams. Is a 21-year-old going to be able to handle with the daily issues and casework in a constituency? She has no life experience. Well, with all due respect, George, I think that is, literally is patronising. I think it's good we have young people in Parliament. I think young people have disproportionately got a kicking in our society over the last few years in terms of the brunt of the cuts. I think we should have more young voices in Parliament, partly to be able to articulate what young people are going through. And I think we should just judge people on their merits. You could be someone in your mid-50s who's an MP and is just really lazy. From what I know of Mhairi, she, whether you agree with her or not, and I disagree with her on certain political issues, but there's no doubting her energy and her commitment. Graham Mark NI. Hello, Graham. That speech gave me goosebumps.
Well, grant them removed, and grant that this your noise hath chid down all the majesty of England. Imagine that you see the wretched strangers, their babies at their backs, with their poor luggage plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation.
You and me both. Shivers down my spine. He's an incredible actor. Riley Cox. What is the app called? Grindr. Just joking. No, it's not. I don't know what it's called actually yet. It is going to be released. It's not out yet, by the way. It tries to make Shakespearean plays less dull, because who reads Shakespearean plays, as Ian McKellen says? So you go through it and see actors acting things out. You can look and see what the words mean. So it makes it a more interactive experience, less kind of dreary. Because lots of people go, oh, I read Shakespeare, and they're just showing off, aren't they? Phil Porter, it's an incredible shame that the sexuality of a gay person is a subject that still needs to be broached. For every time someone asks anyone, be they famous or not, when did you first discover you were gay, there should be the question, when did you first discover you were straight? I don't know if I agree with you. I know what you're getting at, Phil. I appreciate that. But the reality is we live in a homophobic society, significantly less so than when Ian McKellen was my age, but it still remains that a large chunk of the population are not very keen on people being gay. Some people who are, not overtly hateful about it, but have, some level of discomfort with gay people or LGBT people generally. If you're gay, you do grow up feeling different. And that's difficult to explain to people who aren't gay. But we live in a society where, 95% of people are straight. And it's defined in terms of what you're supposed to, the image of what you are as you grow up and what you end up doing is very much defined by that kind of heterosexual norm. There are people watching this who are going to struggle with their sexuality, and to hear a very well-respected actor talk about their own experiences, and also to educate people about, the sacrifices that were made, that we didn't just get equal rights before the law, certainly, without people having to fight for them. So that's why I asked it. I don't think it's kind of like, oh, here we go again, just because he's gay, you have to ask him that. Toby Smith, hello Toby. Interesting that she blamed Westminster for the cuts they're currently making. Basically, the SNP have a get-out-of-jail-free card for anything unpopular they do. I have to say, Toby, there's a lot in that. The SNP have introduced a council tax freeze over many years, which has been good disproportionately for middle-class people, for more affluent voters. And that's put huge pressure on council services, and it's had to be money, from the Scottish Government to try and make up for that. At a time when, obviously, there's been cuts introduced to the Scotland's budget from Westminster. Yes, absolutely. I agree with free education in terms of not having university tuition fees. I support that. But you have had cuts landing on sixth forms, in particular in Scotland, the age of 16 and 18, which is having a terrible impact on people's education. Similarly, Scotland will be given tax powers where it will be possible to increase the top rate of tax. Nicola Sturgeon has refused to do that, and she's saying, she would support it if it was introduced across Britain, but, to introduce it only in Scotland would lead to the rich leaving Scotland. Now, that is the same argument that the Conservatives have used for opposing 50p tax across the British Isles. And if Scotland were to become independent, why would it be any different? If you just want independence for the hell of it, then fine. If it's just about where the border is. If it's about creating a genuinely socially just Scotland which is different and which can show England and Wales how it's done, then you've got to put forward measures that are genuinely progressive. The Scottish Labour Party have put forward progressive policies like increasing the top rate of tax and introducing a more progressive council tax system. I think, actually they're outmanoeuvring the SNP from the left. So I think the SNP's record needs to be taken on. I have noticed SNP supporters get very sensitive often when I make these points, but I'm only here to say it as I see it. I'm sorry I haven't had any kind of straight down the camera me chatting about what's going on in the world. We've had lots of interviews recently. It's been very busy. I'm travelling a lot, swanning around, pretending to be important. So we will have more of them coming though, but as well as some great interviews. So leave your comments, more comments, love the comments. I'll answer as many as I can. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.